Everyone, welcome to another episode of Live with NORML. I'm J.M. Padini, the Development Director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. It's Friday, December 8th, 2023. You know what that means? It's time for me to answer your burning questions live. So that sounds like fun. Hey, take a quick second. Hit that like, follow, or subscribe button wherever you're watching so you never miss when NORML goes live, and drop a note in the comment, friends. Tell me where you're watching from. Are you watching from a legal state, perhaps a very newly legal state like Ohio? Hey, Ellie, happy Friday to you. I'm glad to be back, Ellie. It's been busy the past few weeks. Hello, Sherry. Also in a very legal state, Virginia. Could be better. We're going to work on it. I know you're going to help. All right, so the big news. Hey, Corey. Also from Canada, where it's legal. I love it. Hey, Tree McG from North Carolina. Hey, Tree, let's talk about what Ohio is not only trying to do, but kind of did. Turned out better than it could have, though. Hey, William in Ohio. Congratulations to you and yours in the Buckeye State. You're welcome. And hey, thanks for all you did. Hey, Elizabeth in Texas. Elizabeth, I hope you are connected with Texas NORML. If not, please get connected. They're an incredible NORML chapter led by the illustrious Jax James, who is a delightful person and an incredible advocate for justice. Hey, John, good to see you, friend. All right. Yeah. Ohio's struggling, John. Hey, Will in Richmond. Hey, Jacob in California, land of the broken market. No, my dude, we have so many worse states. But you know. All right, let's talk about Ohio because yesterday, it feels like a million years ago, but yesterday, the voter-approved legalization measure, issue 2, took effect. And I'm going to share with you, of course. Well, first I'm going to kick myself out of the studio. Then, hey Fred, happy Friday. Then I'm going to share this story with you. I hope Ellie held down the fort while I was away and was like, whoa, sometimes that happens. Yeah. Okay, so yesterday at midnight, the provisions in issue 2 legalizing the possession and personal cultivation of cannabis by adults 21 and older took effect. This is 30 days after the measure was passed by 57% of Ohio voters. Ellie, when it happens, you just say, whoa, they'll be right back. The internets are broken. Right, here's what's super amazing about this. With Ohio having legalized, now more citizens in the US reside where cannabis is legal than do not. More people in the US live where cannabis is legal than live where cannabis isn't, for the first time ever since the adoption of marijuana prohibition, federal marijuana prohibition. So that's pretty incredible. And that's all thanks to good people like you who have been doing the work. Now, what happened leading up to this was an effort by some members of the legislature to try to all but repeal legalization. Now, we swooped into action, as one does, and you all listened. In less than 72 hours, you sent over 7,500 emails to your Ohio legislators saying, no, thank you. So ultimately, the Senate did pass a measure that amended the legalization law, in some ways improved it, and then there are some provisions which NORML deeply disagrees with. But the substitute language does preserve the adult use possession limits from issue 2, and still permits adults to cultivate at home, but did lower the plant count from 12 to 6. It also had some good provisions, like establishing a process where people with past low-level possession convictions can apply to have them automatically expunged, and will expedite access to adult use products through already operational medical dispensaries. But it did prohibit the ability for adult sharing, or as Ohio calls it, gifting. Boy, do I have a recommendation for you on that word, Ohio. It changed tax rates and tried to impose a lower THC percentage limit on cannabis concentrates and other changes. So some good, some bad. Whoa. Let me catch back up with your comments. Hey, Kelly in Missouri. Good to see you back. Hey, Chris in South Africa. Good to see you back as well. Elizabeth, long time no see, friend. You're in North Carolina. Well, that's a treat. Yeah, there's a North Carolina NORML, Elizabeth. If you're not connected, you know how to reach me, and I can help you get connected with them. Chris, I'd like to know what very interesting statistic I said, but great. Oh, the more people. Yes, that is interesting, isn't it? Yeah, listen, Tree, I think that the language that states choose is important. And when you use gift, I understand why states now balk at that, because it's so easily misinterpreted, we'll say. That's why states that have written policies more recently use different language, unlike not Ohio, but in Virginia, it's sharing, adult sharing, because it's very literal as to what it is. Just like you can share alcohol with your adult friends, you can share cannabis with your adult friends. Yeah, I would never encourage someone to codify the word gift. Ugh. Oh. Yeah, honey, that's right. If you don't have a good regulatory model for your citizens will go elsewhere, either to neighboring states or to wherever they got it from before. You're right, honey. All right, so that's all the stuff about Ohio. Hey, take a look at our blog. We cover it all there. Let me know if you have more questions. More good news about ballot measures. I'm going to move very slowly this time, Ellie, so I don't break the studio this time. There was some polling done in Florida. Now, Florida has tried for a number of years to get a legalization measure on the ballot. And they have this time, through Smart and Safe Florida, collected more than enough signatures to qualify for the 2024 ballot. It's been challenged up and down in the state. But the good news is 67% of Florida voters support this measure. Ultimately, it would be a constitutional amendment to legalize adult use, possession, and retail sale of marijuana. Thanks, University of North Florida, for doing that poll. It's pretty interesting. Chris, that's what I'm talking about. Like, if you write smart laws that are clear and serve your citizens, then you don't have to have weird stuff like this. Chris says in South Africa, there's a legal loophole for reimbursing cannabis social club members with a product. Neat. That's something. Hey, Will, I see your comment now. Virginia's been moving nowhere, right? Just nowhere. We've been sitting here since 2021 doing a whole lot of nothing. I mean, listen, it's legal to possess, it's legal to consume, it's legal to cultivate, it's legal to share without remuneration amongst adults. So that's all pretty good. Medical program doesn't have a made up list of conditions, it doesn't have an age restriction. There aren't enough dispensaries, and there's no adult use dispensaries. So there's some really great stuff in Virginia, and then there's like really terrible stuff when it comes to access. There's just not adequate access for a state with 8.5 million people when it comes to medical or adult use. Will it get better? Let's find out. You know, I've done a lot of media recently, this past week, about what's going to happen. Look, there are going to be bills again for adult use. There always are, and there will be, even after adult use is retail is in effect. There will still be bills every year, just like corn and education are legal, and we see bills for those every year. But this year in Virginia, Democrats control both chambers, the House and the Senate, so that does create the ability to move a bill through the legislature. A very narrow majority, but it does create a pathway for a bill to succeed, even if it's on a party line vote. Now, that's not, a party line vote isn't going to be good for a bill to land on the governor's desk. If it lands on the governor's desk with no Republican support, that's not a good idea. Let's say we get some bipartisan support and we put a bill on his desk. If it's not in a flavor that he likes, then he can veto it, and there won't be a supermajority of votes to overturn his veto. So it's going to have to be a bill that both parties can agree on, and that is measured enough that the governor won't veto it. Hey, Christopher, good to see you here. Yeah, Jane, New York has got some issues too. I mean, if you want to talk about two states that are just getting it wrong hand over fist, Virginia and New York are like simultaneously jockeying for who can be the worst of legal states when it comes to implementation. Well, we could have consumption venues is the language I would encourage you to use, because it would be really helpful. Think about it through this lens. In any state that does not license consumption venues, be they permanent or temporary licensure for like events, what a burden on law enforcement or inspectors to have to figure out, can this be happening at this location? We don't make them guess with alcohol. With alcohol, you get permits and licenses, and then everyone knows what's allowed to be happening. And the same thing can happen for cannabis. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We do have to be smart about the way we talk about it and the language we use. Hey, Samuel, you're fine. You're fine. You're here. We're all here. Yeah, honey, look, I love your comment and I want to show it. Yeah, Florida's regulatory model is strange. I do not understand why. I mean, I understand why it's that way because money talks. But to say to a patient, "Hey, your registration with the state is valid for a year. Okay, that makes sense. But your medical certification is only valid for 9 months. Why? Why can't they just be at the same time? You know, but to your point, yes, Florida. Exactly, Florida. Hey, Santa Fe, good to see you here. All right, let's make fun of all the states, and then we'll talk about some good things. So in New Hampshire, there's a state-appointed commission, task force, and I participated on a task force like this in Virginia, and we were able to put together our policy recommendations in 90 days. It's a 500-page report. Enjoy reading that. But in New Hampshire, no. In New Hampshire, this commission, this state-appointed commission, was tasked with studying the feasibility of regulating cannabis sales in state-owned stores. So, like some states have state-owned liquor stores. Virginia's one of them. New Hampshire was like, hey, what if we have state-run cannabis stores? Because you know what a state loves more than anything else is selling a Schedule I product. Anyhow, this commission, the members could not reach consensus on a number of study topics, a number of topics they were supposed to provide policy recommendations on in their final report. And so they just didn't include any. That's neat. How do you do that? I'm looking at this, just like, this is a 19-member commission, and they failed to achieve consensus on a model distribution system, and also failed to agree upon a number of related issues like THC potency limitations, public consumption penalties, whether or not to permit personal cultivation for adults. Possession of marijuana in New Hampshire up to 3/4 of an ounce is a civil penalty, and New Hampshire is the only state in New England that hasn't legalized possession and sales. We could talk, New Hampshire. We could help you figure this out if you need. I'm just saying. Yeah, Jane. Wow, indeed. Hey, Wade. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. All right, we've made fun of all of the states. Now I'm going to tell you two great things. This one actually is a little related to California, but that just happens to be where the study was done. And boy, do the hand wringers like to point to California and Colorado as if there's something wrong with those states, in particularly because of legalization. In yet another study that will come to no surprise to you, hey, there's no increase in cannabis use among older teens. In this case, it's the 18 to 20 bracket, so like not in, part of it's not, you know what I mean. Following adult use legalization, and not only was there no increase in cannabis use, but they were also less likely to report using either alcohol or cigarettes following legalization. This study happened to be done in California. I feel like we have a study like this every week. I feel like we have a handful of topics that we report on. Ow, my arm. That hurt. That we report on so frequently. And then today I saw someone posting on our social media asking us who was doing clinical research on cannabis. And I just, really? If only there were a whole website dedicated to that. Yeah, good news, California. Thank you. Fewer days of alcohol and cigarette use. Good job. And then this is the other topic that I feel like we reported on this one like 2 weeks in a row, but there are different studies. Still with similar findings. Nighttime cannabis use. Well, I guess cannabis use before bedtime, though we do say nighttime here. Bedtime might be. What if you go to bed in the middle of the day? Who knows? But cannabis use prior to bedtime is associated with improved sleep quality. Investigators assessed a cohort of 347 subjects who reported suffering from anxiety, and they reported their sleep each morning over 30 days. And cannabis use was linked to a higher perceived sleep quality versus non-use. So yeah, raise your hand if that was a surprise. Hey, Anthony, I see your burning questions. Anthony says, hey there, I guess my burning questions are all the federal rescheduling potential. Is there a potential that marijuana could be rescheduled at the federal level? There's a potential. DEA has never once agreed to any rescheduling proposals or descheduling proposals before, but hey, the 8 bajillionth time might be the charm. But then that begs the question of, does it actually do anything? No, not really. So rescheduling to Schedule 3 would then mean FDA has to regulate cannabis products. FDA doesn't regulate plants. It also doesn't force FDA to regulate cannabis. It just says that they can. Hey, Mike, good to see you. It does not, in and of itself, improve research abilities. The restrictions specific to cannabis research predate marijuana being added to the Federal Controlled Substances Act. It also does not necessarily clear up 280E impediments. It doesn't automatically create a tax deductible product if that product isn't regulated by FDA. It does nothing to alleviate the conflict between state and federal laws, because every medical and adult use cannabis market happening around each state around the country would still be in conflict. I mean, so could it happen? Could. It could. Does it really do anything? No. I mean, I guess it lets some people like high-five themselves and like, yay, we did something. But did you? Hello, pot calls the kettle bong. You know how I enjoy reading your title. I don't know what that's about, but perhaps I missed something. Oh, I see. I see what you're talking about now. Got it. All right. So, well, that's the news. I hope you all have missed us. We've been super busy at NORML, but we're now, around trying to get back in the swing of things. we have next week coming up, we will have our 2023 legislative report will be coming out, so stay tuned for that. We will be, after the holidays, we will be into the beginning of legislative sessions around the country. We have 2 big events coming up that I can tell you about early in 2024. We have the Virginia Cannabis Conference. That's January 19th through 21st. Tickets will go on sale for that next week. And March 7 through 9 is the Kentucky Cannabis Conference. You know, I could just put those. I could just put that information here for you, couldn't I? All right, there's Virginia. And there's Kentucky. I did it. Who's doing holiday shopping? Did you know that you can help give the gift of legalization? You can. When you shop the NORML store, you can give a gift that does so much more than thrill the recipients. We have tons of stuff in the NORML store. Check it out. I just shared a link with you. Hoodies like this, t-shirts, mugs, stickers, buttons, lapel pins, books, all the things for the legalization lover in your life, which is probably yourself. Please check that out. And one last thing I'm going to tell you about, friends, before we all go have a wonderful weekend. You know that tomorrow is Saturday, and you know what happens on Saturday. The weekend weed read comes out. It goes great with your coffee or whatever in the morning. It comes out at between 9 and 9:15. It hits inboxes, and you don't want to miss that. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit that link I just put in the chat for you. Make sure you check the weekend weed read box, and then you'll get it every Saturday. Ta-da. Chris, I believe that we can arrange for international shipping, but you will probably have to email me directly to help facilitate that. You can email orders@norml.org. Hello, Anthony in West Virginia. I see your comment. Anthony, I'm going to drop a link for you in the comment real quick for attorneys in that state. We do not have a West Virginia chapter at this point in time, Anthony, but hopefully this link that I am dropping in the chat for you right now will help you with your request. And then Richard, 6 plants, but only 2.5 ounces. Is that, you're talking about Ohio? Yeah, Ohio, I guess. Thank you, Chris. Chris has helpful information. Chris says a reminder to click on the little bell on YouTube to notify you. Thanks, Chris. You're welcome, Anthony. Wow, all right. This is got some comments happening here. All right, friends, this has been a blast. Hey, we try to do this every Friday, except when it's the holidays. What's today, the 8th? Yeah, we'll do this. We'll probably do this for the next 2 weeks. Won't that be nice to get back on schedule? Sherry, I will have more information for you. I'm going to have more information for you next week. I promise. I promise. You can book your room at the Delta, though. They haven't sent me the link, but you can just call them. I don't think they've sent me the link. If they sent me the link and I put it on the website and don't remember, whoops. But the block is reserved. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for joining us. All right, everyone. Ooh, break my desk now. Hey, everyone. Have a great weekend. This has been a blast. Make sure you hit that like, follow, or subscribe button wherever you're watching so you never miss when NORML goes live. I'll see you back here next week. Bye-bye.